Okay, so we're going to start talking a little bit about the science behind our skincare or our skin's damage, and it's useful to know that because this gorgeous little girl in this picture up here, she's worried about aging. Thanks, Laura, for that photo. We hear a lot of words thrown around all the time, things such as free radicals and antioxidants. So you've probably got a vague idea of what these things do. And hopefully I can demystify a little bit of that. Free radicals cause oxidation. Antioxidants stop that oxidation. And I'm sure you're thinking, oh, you're right, Pauline, how great that, because really I've got no idea what oxidation is. But you actually do. You've got a good idea of it because out in the real world, you see it all of the time. If you get a car, hopefully yours is parked in the garage with a perfect paint job at the moment, and all its metal is feeling really good. It's strong, it's sturdy, but if you go and get it scratched deeply or just leave it out in the weather for ages and ages and the paint gets a bit rough on it, you have exposed the metal underneath to the air. Now in the air, we all know there's oxygen, and just going back a page, oxidation sounds a little bit like oxygen, and that's often, oxygen indeed is often what causes oxidation, and in the case of the metal, rust. So you're aware of it, you just don't know how it works. Now that rust has changed that metal from nice, strong, sturdy, useful stuff to pretty horrible looking and really damaged. You can see on that bumper, basically, if you touch the metal, it's actually going to just crumble away. So not so good for us. Likewise, when you cut your fruit, you know that it goes from lovely bright white to looking pretty murky fairly quickly. And again, it's oxidation that causes that. So oxygen, we know of oxygen as O2. That's the good stuff. When two little oxygen atoms are hooning around together in close proximity, oxygen's a really useful thing and we like to breathe it from time to time. Oxygen like that is good for us, but oxygen doesn't always hang out in pairs, and that's when it can pose a few problems. Now that looks a bit scary, but back to high school chemistry, you might recall that all atoms have got positive charges and they like to hang out together in the middle. And then flying around the outside are the negative charges or the electrons. Now the thing with every single atom is it has these little shells that look like circles here. Now those shells can only contain so many electrons, so many of the negative charges. And the very first one can only fit 2. The next circle around the outside, the next shell, can contain 8 electrons, and then the next shell 8, the next shell 8, and then it gets more. Now, oxygen, don't know if you remember the periodic table, but he's got 8 protons and 8 electrons. Now, the first 2 have to sit in that middle, in that first shell. And then the remaining 6, so that adds up to 8, they hang out in the next shell. But oxygen's a funny little bugger. He does not like to have an empty house or not a full house. He wants all his shell to be chock-a-block full. And so basically, he's missing 2 electrons from that outside shell. And so what he wants to do is go and nab some from somewhere else. So that's when he becomes dangerous and causes problems. So when he's hanging around on his own as an oxygen atom, he's not very friendly and he causes problems like rust and apples turning brown. However, once he's hanging out with his friend again, what they do, they basically, if you can see me in the screen, if I'm an oxygen atom, I've got these 2 spare electrons, and what I'm going to do, or I'm missing 2 electrons, so I'm going to go and grab hold of my friend, grab hold of his 2 electrons, and he's going to grab hold of my 2 electrons. And you can see down here that those 2, the green oxygen atom, he's still only got 6 green ones, but he's kind of grabbed hold of the purple 2 as well. And same likewise. So both of those two little oxygen guys feel pretty okay that they've got their 8 and then they behave well. All right, so that's going back to the rust, and I think I've already talked about that. Why rusting occurs: once the iron in that car is exposed to the air, any little oxygen atoms, not the friendly pair of molecules, but the single oxygen atoms that are flying around, they try and steal some electrons off that iron. So instead of looking nice and bright and healthy, he's going to rust and go pretty useless. So the oxygen atoms are stealing electrons. And that's what all free radicals do. Free radicals are grumpy little fellas that want to steal electrons. So that might be a bit weird yet. So think of it as free radicals being a high school or a schoolyard bully. And what they're doing is wanting to steal lollies, because at this lunch hour, every kid in the school was given some lollies, but the bully wasn't happy enough with how many he got. So he's going to run around and try and steal some off some other people. Now, that little guy in the glasses, he was quite happy with his lollies, but now the bully's taken them off him. So the guy in glasses, not very happy any longer. And he can't get them back off the bully because he's too strong. So he's going to go and steal some off someone else. And that someone else is going to get pretty grumpy. And basically, you get this whole chain reaction of grumpy little kids on the playground. So going back to the sciencey looking stuff, the red nasty boy, the free radical, wants some more electrons. So he steals one off what was a happy looking little boy, the blue boy, and that makes him unhappy. So he starts turning into a free radical himself and steals one off the next kid. So it's this whole chain reaction. Now that's not very nice, really. So we need to somehow stop that schoolyard bully in the first place. What can stop it? Antioxidants. Because remember that stealing free electrons is oxidation. So we want to do the opposite of that. In this case, in all cases, antioxidants are happy to give away some electrons. So in this case, you think about Santa. If Santa flies in, he's got a whole bag full of lollies. He's going to scatter them around and everyone's going to be happy. So in the science world, Santa would be giving away electrons. And that's what our antioxidants do. What do they look? And that can happen to not just rust in apples, but to every cell in our body. And when that chain reaction of bad stuff goes on, that's when we get real damage happening. You can get cancer, you can get all sorts of things. So basically you want to be making sure that you get a whole lot of antioxidants into your body, and as far as our skin goes, onto our skin. So if we've got a nice, happy, healthy cell, and then we get attacked by a free radical who's missing his electron, he's going to go and try and steal this one off this guy. But if we come along with an antioxidant, he's just going to go, here you go, don't need to be grumpy. You can have my spare one, and then we're going to have 3 smiling faces. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so antioxidants protect us from that damaging oxidation process, or rusting, if you like to think of it like that. Antioxidants come in lots and lots of different forms, largely in brightly coloured fruit and veggies, and that's why you'll find that Nutrimedix has lots and lots of fruit and veggies in it. Basically, anything with high concentration of vitamin A, C, or E will be a really good antioxidant. And we've got lots of things like pomegranate and resveratrol from red wine. Who said wine was bad for you? And grapeseed extract. So that's in the Restore. We've got lots of different antioxidants, and they are going to cancel out that nasty chain reaction. Just stops it in its tracks. Whew. There's your apple again. Been cut in half, and slowly it starts to go brown. Now have a look at this particular apple. That's oxidation happening. But this guy here looks a little different. So if you can have a think for a moment, when you're making fruit salad, if you don't want things to go brown, what do? Throw a little bit of lemon juice on it. And that is exactly what has happened with this apple here. One side has had lemon juice squirted on it, and that lemon juice contains vitamin C, lots of ascorbic acid, which is a fabulous antioxidant, and it stops that damage happening. So you know that in the real world, and so that's exactly what happens in our skincare as well. Alrighty, little lady, looking a little bit nervous about the aging process, but our skin does not need to look its age. We can make it look younger simply by applying the right things to it. With aging, you all know what aging looks like. We get things like wrinkles, uneven skin tone, fine lines, dryness, loss of elasticity and loss of firmness. It sounds all really nasty and it's a bit of a like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about it? But you can do something, and that's exciting. The things that, check out this guy. I don't know if you've seen him. I like to take him to my treatments and show the girls, because this is a really, really good example of some free radical damage. And the free radical thing that's going on here is the UV light. So I show that picture to the girls and ask them why he looks so much more aged on one side. I love it when they say, because he's used Nutrimedix on the other side, but no. And I ask them to think of, they end up working out that it's sun damage, and so you ask them what occupation he might have that would cause that. And eventually they get that he might be a truck driver. And he is, obviously not in this part of the world, he's driving on the other side of the road. So that damage from the UV light from the sun just shows that we really need to look after our skin, because the side that's been in the shade of the cab, looking a whole lot better. So what causes DNA damage? All the free radicals, and they tend to start with pollution, UV rays, diet, alcohol, all those things that, well, alcohol and diet we can do something about, but the sunlight, the pollution, other people's smoking, we can't do much about that. And what it does is damages the skin cells, and then they can't repair themselves, they can't protect themselves, and they can't renew themselves. So we need to help them out. So those free radicals, remember, are the unstable things that like to steal electrons from other things, and that causes problem. Now, what's DNA? That whole little twisty thing you'll remember from high school. And in our skin cells, it's responsible for reproducing, repairing, and protecting the skin cells. So the healthier your skin's DNA is, the healthier your complexion will be. You'll be looking stunning. Right, have I got you stressed yet? You're probably thinking, oh my God. Just a little aside from that science, just for 2 seconds. Think of women. We're always busy and we're quite stressed occasionally. Where I'm leading to here is something that you can do for your skin to stop that nasty process of aging happening. So, yep, we're always a bit busy and stressed. When you're like that, do you ever think about the kids in the playground and think, man, I wish I was a kid again? So you're thinking about them playing there, wish that you could be a kid. Well, we can't do that. Not many organisms can, but there is one. The immortal jellyfish can do exactly that. If he gets a bit stressed, either through hunger or attack, he can go back to being his childhood form. Now, I don't know if you know much about the life cycle of a jellyfish. I certainly didn't, but it looks a bit like that. So he starts off little, gets a bit bigger, changes form all the time. It's a bit like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. So we start with an egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. Same sort of transformation. Now, when he's a bit stressed, he goes, no, don't like this adult thing. I don't want to be an adult any longer. I'm going to go back to being what I was when I was younger. Now, clearly, we'd all like that. And so the clever scientists have been trying to reproduce this for our skincare and for medicine. And they finally have done it. They've come up with what's called Juvifoxo, which is the immortal peptide 51, like Benjamin Button. So we do not have jellyfish in our products. We have not chopped up the jellyfish. That would go against our animal ingredient policy. But we are using this imitation of it, the Juvifoxo, and that is in our new, well, it's not new any longer, in our DNA cream. And what it does is it gets in, fixes the skin cell at the DNA level, and makes your skin act up to 10 years younger within 24 hours. Okay, a little bit about it. Fixes your DNA damage, blah, blah. Basically, it gives you smoother, plumper, more radiant, younger looking skin. Remember, if you can see me in the little corner up the top there, I always show the grapes and raisins, cornflakes analogy of our skin care. And remember that the grape cells, that lower layer, is always regenerating itself. Now, some of those grape cells divide and split into two, so we get more grape cells, and some of them die and fall off. So our skin is always regenerating. Now, it does that, our skin cells regenerate through something called mitosis. You might remember it. But what it does, it's really clever. Everything that's in the first cell, on the first little grape cell, replicates itself. So now we've got double of everything. And then it does a cool little dance in the middle. So it's like getting a bit bigger, and he does a little dance around, and it separates out into two ends of the cell. And you can see the waistline there. Eventually, we started with one skin cell, everything doubled inside it, and now it's squeezing down and becoming two skin cells. It's really clever, eh? But you'll find that a healthy skin cell, with everything good going on in there, when it doubles itself, everything's good still, so you end up with two nice healthy skin cells. But if it's been subject to UV or, pollution, whatever, and it's damaged, then you're going to get two damaged skin cells. So what our Juvifoxo does is gets in there and fixes the original, so that instead of being damaged, it's going to be nice and healthy and splits into two healthy ones. Pretty cool, eh? Blah, blah, it's got other stuff in it. And it's wonderful for everyone at any age. So women from their 20s upwards, but that's a lie. My kids actually use it, especially if they've had a few pimples. They'll use it to help repair the skin. If they've got sunburnt, actually they like to use it all the time because, they like to spend my money. But it's amazing for everyone, and everyone that starts using it will see huge differences. Now, it's $90 for that little bottle, but at the moment, you can get two for the price of one. I've never seen it. I don't remember being on special, let alone two for one. So that's a really good time to get it. All right, I might just stop sharing because you're probably sick of, stop the share. Sick of hearing from me. Does anyone have any questions on that so far? You can unmute yourself if you want to ask anything. No, everyone's either asleep or Maureen's got a question.
Hello. Oh. No, I'm just going to say I think that was absolutely fabulous. That we all learned a lot more than we did before, even I.
Oh, good.
I think you know it, but when you see it, that's a really simple explanation.
Oh, thanks, Maureen. It's funny as you say it, you think, oh my God, it might be too much. But Vicky's just telling us that DNA is on back order. That's how popular this is. Maureen was saying it was an easy explanation of it. So, but Vicky's saying that the DNA is on back order. It doesn't matter if it's on back order it anyway, because it's so good. You just want to get it in your hot little hands. I'm sure they'll get it to us. Vicky, do you know when it is going to be back? No? No. Well. Okay, so that's the sciencey side of it all. We're going to go on to the other part, which was the 5 steps of selling. So I am going to share my screen again. That way I don't have to look at myself. Oh, hang on. Are you seeing that? You're not seeing it, are you? You can see the PowerPoint? Cool. Yep. Excellent. Okay. So here we are. Now the 5 steps of selling, these have been around for a zillion years, and all the best salespeople in the world basically use this kind of technique. I'm sure there's other things as well, but when you're promoting products, there's a few things that you want to do. First of all, you want to have a catchy opening. You want to grab people's attention, because if they're sitting in your party or your treatment and you've been blabbing on a bit, they might have fallen asleep, they might be sick of your voice. So you've got to do something to grab their attention. And so for that DNA, it might be, do you want to look 10 years younger overnight, girls? And I go, they're probably going to scoff at you, but you've got their attention. The second thing you want to share with them is the features and benefits of the product. Now, the features I've written small. That's what's going on in it. It's the whole Juby-Foxo thing for the DNA. You don't want to go into too much detail about that. Basically, you want to share what it's going to do for their skin, because they don't really care how it works, although they do find the jellyfish story a bit interesting. But it's what it's going to do for their skin that they really want to know about. So share that. Next thing is the demonstration. There's absolutely no point telling them about a product without putting it on their skin. As soon as they feel it on their skin, be it the back of their hand, on their throat, whatever, they feel it, they smell it, they feel the texture. They're not going to see instant results while you're sitting there, but at least they get an idea of what the product's like. And then more importantly, tell a story. And there's so many pictures of people's scars healing. I mean, for me, my skin looks younger now than it did 12 years ago when I started NutriMedics, but just pick a story and tell them about it, and then show them how they can get the product into their own hot little hands. So you talk about what an amazing value it is at $90, and that will last them X amount of time. At the moment, there's 2 for 1. They might like to get it on their hostess rewards. If they host a treatment, they might be able to get it discounted depending on what you offer, half price, quarter price shopping, whatever. And the other way is if they were to join, I think it's in part of the joining offer or the opportunity and rewards. So what I'm going to do is take you through a product. And I've just picked the Liquid Cover Concealer. It is on special at the moment, and I'm shocking Laura right here and talking about makeup. Now this is a really cool little product. I'm just going to stop that share just for a moment. Can you see me? Am I big now?
No.
No? Oh, hang on. I'll stop the share and come back to it. There. Am I big now? Excellent. This Liquid Cover Concealer is really, really awesome. But before I tell you about it properly, I want to show you how to use it, because it's really, really important that you tell your customers when they first get it. It comes wrapped in that glad wrappy stuff that's hard to get off. And then you open it, and this would normally be white. This is like a little paintbrush that's got the concealer in it, because this is not new. But when they first get it, they do all sorts of things trying to work out how to use it. But what they've got to do is twist, and then out comes the googly stuff. And it's really important that you tell them to hold that end and twist that end, because otherwise they're not going to know what to do about it. And I'm just going to show you right now how to demo it. Because of hygiene, you might be, if you were going to demo it on the back of the hand, you might be able to just paint it straight on. But if you're doing a makeup party, and this is makeup, then you really want to get yourself cotton tip, get some of it on there for them, and then tell them to try either on the eye area, or if they're not doing their eye makeup, then the blue here on the veins, put a little bit on there, pat it in, and then you get, you know, a vein that starts, stops, and starts again. So it's a really cool demo. Okay, so going back to sharing my screen, we've got from current slide. So we've got that concealer, and the catchy opening might be something like surviving on too little sleep. You can camouflage those dark circles or your uneven complexion with our mother's little helper. I love doing this with young mums because they're always so tired. They always have dark circles, and as soon as you say too little sleep, they're nodding, and the dark circles, they're jumping up and down. They want something to fix it. So mother's little helper is sounding pretty good right now. Features and benefits, there's a whole lot of things going on with this little magic tube. I'm just going to mention one or two. It's got colour correcting minerals in here. It's actually a yellowy iron oxide, and what it does is counters the purple hue of your dark circles. So our dark circles look a bit purple, and if you remember the colour wheel, you know, red, blue, yellow, yellow is sitting directly opposite purple. They cancel each other out. So when you apply something slightly yellowish to that area, it disappears it. So I would talk about that, and I like the fact that it's waterproof formula, so it's going to stay in place and last all day. Now it's also got mica, so that diffuses and reflects the light. So if that grabs you, then you might want to talk about that. You might want to talk about the glycerin that's in it, and that keeps your skin really hydrated. Only one or two things. Gets rid of the purple and stays there. That's all you need to mention. Now demoing it, I just told you how to do it. They find it, make sure you tell them how to use it, and they'll be amazed at, like, I've got a little gap in my veins there, it looks a bit scary. Tell them a story. So I've got a friend who lives just around the corner from me. She has really dark eyelids. She doesn't have so many dark circles under here, but her eyelids, it always looks like she's been punched, or that she's wearing dark eyeshadow all of the time. Now, a little bit of concealer, a little bit of the stuff on her lids, and suddenly she's looking really wide awake, and it allows her to wear her choice of eyeshadow, so suddenly it can stand out. Funnily enough, when this very first came out years ago, I actually did have a black eye, and I went to a party and the girls were going, no, you haven't got a black eye, and I took my eye makeup off and there was my black eye, so that was quite amazing. Call to action, great value at $34 normally. It's currently on special till the end of May, or you can save on it in the completion set. Remember this big catalogue, it's amazing, and be really aware of the collections at the beginning, because that's a great way for girls to save money. So that comes with the mineral powder and a kabuki brush. And when you're talking about that, you'd also mention that if they're using a mineral powder foundation, they would apply the concealer first and then gently put the powder over top. But if they're using a liquid concealer, then it's the other way, liquid foundation, sorry, it's the other way around. So what they do, or what you do, is you put your foundation on first and then apply your concealer to your dark circles or the blemishes or whatever. Now the reason for that is that you want your concealer to be exactly on the dark circle or exactly on the pimple. If you put it on first, when you rub your foundation on, it's going to shift it. So you'll be covering up something that's not an imperfection. And the other thing is also your foundation will hide a whole lot of your imperfections that you didn't realize. So by putting foundation on first, concealer over the top, you'll use a whole lot less concealer. blah, blah. So that's the concealer and AHA Complex Peel Cream. I love this product. It's really, really cool. I think we're probably running out of time, but I'll read through it really quickly. So you might say, you might have explained to them the whole grapes and raisins thing and really expressed that get rid of the cornflakes so your skin looks brighter, fresher, and is more able to absorb your moisturizer, because yogurt on top of cornflakes doesn't go very far. So get rid of the cornflakes and your yogurt or your moisturizer can actually, you get value for money. So we know that we need to exfoliate, but the girls are too busy. So if they're too busy to do it while they sleep. Now that beautiful product contains fruit acids, and one of those fruit acids basically unsticks the glue that holds all those cornflakes together, and the other unclogs all the gunk in the pores so it can come on out. So it detoxes your skin as it's doing that as well, and it leaves your skin so soft and radiant. Demo, apply it on their arm or somewhere, let them smell it, feel it, and for some girls, in 10 minutes time, if they rub their arm, it's amazing how many skin cells they can get off. It used to be much more obvious with the product that we had before. Tell a story. Now you girls, if you haven't tried this product, steal my stories. Steal someone else's. That's why you go to training, so you can share all these stories, because there's bound to be something that will relate to the girls in the room. So I had a client, Hayley. She had massive hard blackheads around her nose, and no matter how much she squeezed them in the mirror or whatever product she used, nothing ever helped. But she got this product, the AHA Complex Peel, and within 5 days, everything came on out. She said it was so much fun in front of the mirror. So I don't recommend that brides use this a week before their wedding for the first time. It can be a bit scary. Now Rachel, another girlfriend of mine, she hates the sandy feeling of physical exfoliants like Microderm or whatever. So she didn't bother exfoliating. She didn't like it. But she also didn't like how dull her skin was. So when she found out about the AHA, she uses that regularly. She loves the smell and feel of it, and more importantly, she loves her radiant complexion. And it was a week or two after she'd started using it that she went and had a coffee with some girlfriends, and the girls were saying to her, "Man, your skin's glowing." And one of them thought that she'd been up to no good earlier that morning, and the other one thought that she was pregnant because her skin was glowing so much. So neither of those were the case apparently. It was all just the AHA. So again, share that story. Call to action once again, show them the price. If it's on special, I don't think it is at the moment. Or they can get it by hosting a treatment. They might be able to get it on their hostess rewards, or it's permanently discounted when they join. Now it's actually really good to include an under and over. So when you're telling them how to use it, you only use it at night time, and you use it in place of your normal moisturizer for night. So you cleanse, tone, pop your peel cream on. So you'll sleep, it'll gradually exfoliate overnight. And then in the morning, it's really good to team it with the Daily Complexion Refiner, because that's like a cleanser, but it's got the rice powder in it, and it gently buffs away all the loose cornflakes that have loosened overnight. And now it would last me at least 3 treatments, probably 4 or 5 to be honest. So for $76, it's going to last at least 7 months of use. All right.